Okay, so this is a little different from the usual video that I would make, but let me give some backstory. So I've always really liked video games. This is actually my brother's magazine from 2003, possibly late 2002. And I'm a big, like, history buff or whatever, and I just love the early 2000s. Like, I was too young to remember, like, a lot of it and be able to play the games that are in here, but I just thought it would be fun to take a look through and see how different things were back then. So, yeah. As you can tell, I'm just gonna say it now, I think, like, it's kind of sad, like, the early 2000s was so edgy. Like, I swear, like, now it's kind of, like, tame or whatever, but back then it was just so edgy. Like, look at this. Like, those punk rock girls in this game that probably didn't do too well. And Jak and Daxter was, like, all edgy and stuff. I remember this game. I've never played it, but I remember I went to Toys R Us back in the day, and I saw a demo playing, but I never got into it. I remember there was a cartoon, and stuff like this, like, I don't think you would see stuff like this anymore in magazines. Just like this kind of advertising. Just like, I don't know. It's the only word I can think of. It's just like edgy. Like the way, like the color tones of the advertising. Because with different generations, advertisers want to get to the youth. And I think the youth back then was pretty, like, you know, punk rock or whatever. But now it's kind of just like, I don't know, it's kind of like in the 90s. I think I heard this somewhere where in the 90s they wanted to do weirder commercials because the youth was more artistic and open-minded. And that's kind of how it is now. I've noticed that commercials are a lot weirder, but back in the 2000s it was all about, like, really up in your face and, like, just edgy and punk rock. So that's what I've noticed. It's just like, you know, even the art style back then, it was more blocky, I think, but now it's kind of just more spherical, I think. Like, look at that. Materials were harmed in the making of this game. Now you would see, like, all of them kind of, like, looking happy and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if that's just me. You see, stuff like this. I don't think this would be found in a magazine nowadays. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, I'm just saying, like, I don't think you would see something like this. It's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just kind of, the advertising back then was so mysterious. I don't know. It made everything look so cool. Like, it's just all mostly, you know, darker. In modern times, advertisements are all colorful and more inviting, but back then it was, like, darker, and it kind of made you curious. Like this. If you notice, like, all of these ads kind of have a dark tone to them. I don't know if it's just video game. This is an exception, of course, but I just think it's interesting how, you know, the early 2000s was just kind of this crazy time. Because, you know, we've been living with, you know, 1950s, like, oh, like, look at this. Like, I mean, yeah, but, like, I'm getting ahead of myself, but in the 1950s, it was all about, like, oh, we're all uptight and buy our microwave or whatever. No, toaster, because microwaves didn't even exist back then. And it was all, you know, the silent majority, you know, but then after, like, the baby boomers or whatever, I'm getting too historical right here, but, like, make things more interesting with this kind of advertising. Like, oh my god, I love this game. It's so hard. I beat the second Tony Hawk Underground for Xbox, but the first one, you see October 2003. It's like, sorry. What are you doing, Fergie? My dog was just reverse sneezing, so I had to go help him. Oh god. I don't know if you can hear him in the background, so he does that sometimes. Football game. I was never big on sports games. I've always wanted to try some, it's just they're so difficult. You see, you just look... Oh my gosh, early 2000s CG was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah, but most of this I'm just gonna skim past. You see, dark and edgy, making you wonder, oh, what's this guy's story? He seems hurt or whatever. What the fuck? I've never heard of that game ever. It's just like, I don't know, it's just, everything in the 2000s was strange. Oh, the Simpsons game. Hit and Run. That's like notorious. This is cool. It's just, it shows like, I think that in the early 2000s, I don't want to sound bad or anything, but like, I guess more things that aren't acceptable now were kind of the norm back then. I'm not saying that's good or bad again, I feel like that people were more, I don't know, rough around the edges, I guess. Like this. It's a lot of action. Old Lara Croft just looks so different now. The Hobbit. I didn't even know there was a Hobbit game. Oh, are you joining me for this video, baby? You weren't even alive in 2003. It's my 2007 bubby. Oh, another edgy. Oh, shit! Look, it's Resident Evil. Fergie, it's Resident Evil. Okay, you go ahead and do that. Oh, that's so cool how they show that. It's like the top 10 scariest games. Here, let's start from the beginning. I've never heard of... Okay, Doom and... Okay, Alone in the Dark. That's another notorious. That's it. About this list, I don't like how they have more than one Silent Hill on the list. Because it just kind of like, yeah, it's a scary game. It's going to be on there. I can't believe that Resident Evil got #1. And it even says, surprised. I remember when I watched my dad and my brother play it, he said that someone he worked with was like, oh my god, that's such a scary game, and I guess back in 2003, a lot of people agreed with that. Metal Arms, I've never heard of that one. It's like a totally different advertising. I just thought that was really cool and worth showing. I don't know how many people ever read this magazine. I think it would be cool. It's like, my whole thing is, I was a kid in the early 2000s, so I think it would be, like, I always fantasized about what teenagers were like when I was a kid, and I'm just wondering how, if anyone's watching this, if you were a teenager in the early 2000s looking through this, that would be so mind-blowing. I don't know why I'm so funny about that stuff. I just like to know about who came before me, I guess. Oh, it's the GameCube! You see, that's definitely not like the Switch. Walmart. It's just such an interesting, like, how they marketed back then. Oh shit! It's Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm trying to bring Yu-Gi-Oh back. Like, I'm just gonna force everyone I know, which isn't a lot, I'm just gonna force them to like Yu-Gi-Oh! And buy that, like, card arm thing. I'm bringing it back, and not the shitty new one. This is the original. This is the real Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, all the shit after this guy's gone, it's not real. This is the real Yu-Gi-Oh! Another thing that you wouldn't see today, I'm not wearing pants. It's very interesting. Marketing there. More up in your face. Sorry if I'm going too fast. Yeah. Never heard of that. What's this? Oh, that's just it's just so unique. Like the art style back then. Oh! Another edgy Edgemeister there. Like a poor man's Guitar Hero, but karaoke. Tom Clancy, oh god. That's in the dollar bin at the game store for sure. Masters of the Universe. Never heard of that. Oh look, another edgy Grand Theft Auto. I remember watching this documentary maybe in 2010 saying that Grand Theft Auto makes kids want to be thugs. That's like the first time I heard that. It's just this ongoing thing. It's like that one, what's it called? Night Trap. I think Night Trap was the reason ESRB came out. Dragon Ball. Oh! Tulip. It's like, you never know how much of this stuff is in your life when you first look at this, but like 10 years down the road when you're looking back at it, I actually have this game. I'll show a clip of it, but Tulip, I talked about this. Oh yes, this brings back some good memories. You see, I got it for like 10 bucks, but now it's really expensive now because it's so like out of print and rare. Not to brag or anything, of course. I remember in 2013, Game Grumps put out a video of this, and it was just so cool, and I went to Half Price Books, and I got it for like 10 bucks, I think. It's just so bizarre, and it's like kind of expensive now, but I know you can get it on Virtual Console, on the PS4 or PS3. I know they're interesting marketing. Oh shit, it's Buffy. I tried watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer when I was in 9th grade, and it's just like, it's not my cup of tea. More edgy. I feel like I'm being really annoying, but I just thought it'd be cool to flip through this. My brother has a bunch of Nintendo powers. I wish I could show you some Nintendo power, but I don't have any. So, I'm just showing you this. Yeah. A lot of these games I've never heard of. It's a fairly normal. That's something you would see today, I think. Oh, crap. Okay. And again, I gave Fatal Frame to my brother. I couldn't get into it. I tried to like it. Another Hobbit game? I didn't even know. Oh. This is my brother. I keep mentioning my brother, I know. But he has a 2005 E3 DVD, and I was obsessed. They showed a trailer of this. I've never played it, but it's just the art style, it really, like, I really like the art style. Haven't heard of this one. Oh, there's Edgerton Edger Boy. Jack. Introducing, I have no idea what this is. Some kind of, oh, yep. Introducing the easiest online hookup since the girl from the chat room. This is another thing that wouldn't be acceptable nowadays. I feel like a lot of this was just out there. Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball. Yeah. It's just so cool to see this. Like, these GameCube graphics. It's just so cool to look back on. Tiger Woods before everything happened. It's like, I don't know. It's just something so, I think it's just so outlandish and out there. I can't even, like, put a word on early 2000s advertisements. It's just 2000s. That's the verb, or whatever for it. Soul Calibur. Button mashing story, next page. I don't want to talk about it. Oh,